The show Nevermore is based on The Raven by Edgar Allan Poe. The narrator, who remains nameless throughout the short story, is longing for his lost love. As he's sitting in his chamber or in his room, he hears knocking on his door, or what's referred to as rapping on his chamber door. In his mind, he's thinking that Lenore is coming back to life. That's really what he wants to see. He wants to see Lenore at the door. So when he goes to open the door, there's really nothing out there. The story continues, and all of a sudden he hears knocking again, but this time not at the door, it's actually at the window. And he opens the window and a bird flies in. The bird's a raven. And the raven is really a symbol, or it's an omen of death. So the raven flies in, perches himself upon a pedestal, and he sees the raven and he's kind of looking at it like, hey, this must mean something. So he basically just asking the bird questions, and the bird really has only one reply. So it doesn't matter really what question he asks, the bird will just always tell him nevermore. So with that, he asks one final question about Lenore, and the raven quotes again the phrase or the word nevermore. Throughout the show, the way that we interpret it as a band is we interpret the very first scenes of the short story, the knocking or the rapping on the chamber door, and the entire opener is based off of that rapping. And basically that entire opener is supposed to portray him in his chamber, thinking about his lost love, hearing the knocks on the door, finally opening the door, and nothing is there. Then we move on into the second movement, which is about Lenore. So we take it in the sense that he's not only longing for Lenore, but it's pretty much just his love. You see different things like couples dancing, you see a lot of things in pairs. The entire movement has this kind of feel of, femininity to it. The very last movement, the closer, is about the raven itself, and the raven is known as the prophet. And it takes a turn where it's more angry in nature, more aggressive in nature, and that's how the movement starts. Towards the end of the movement, it gets a little more on the reflective side, more hopeful, more despair, all kinds of emotions kind of working its way in, and then it goes back to him being angry, and it just drives to the end from there. And what happens is at the very end, he's going through all of these kind of emotional, turmoil. So emotionally, the storyline goes through a lot. Yeah, it goes through despair, goes through love, goes through anger, and then finally to contentment. It's very difficult, just music alone, to try to portray this. But the main thing, I think, to really pull everything together is to put yourself in the story. Really think about what the story meant to the person that's in it, and try to perform that and act that out as you folks are marching and playing, doing all the movement throughout the show.